So apparently, Keir Starmer might quit before the new year. Yeah, you heard that right. The man who spent years campaigning to become prime minister could be walking away from number 10 before we've even finished our Christmas leftovers. And the wildest part? His own party members think he's already mentally checked out. When your colleagues are analyzing your mood like amateur psychologists, trying to decode whether you're staying or going, you know something's gone spectacularly wrong. Buckle up, because this labor civil war is getting absolutely chaotic. Picture this. You've just become prime minister after years of opposition. You've got a massive majority. You should be on top of the world. Instead, insiders are saying Starmer has this new Zen-like mood that's completely out of keeping with someone facing a make-or-break budget next week. Zen-like. That's the word they're using. Now, I don't know about you, but when someone's zen in the middle of a political storm, that's not inner peace. That's someone who's already made their exit plan and is just waiting for the right moment to use it. One backbencher told the Daily Mail that Starmer was very chilled, not like someone who had the weight of the world on his shoulders, or expects to have it for that much longer. Read that again. Expects to have it for that much longer. His own MPs are basically saying he's got one foot out the door. This isn't speculation from political opponents. This is coming from inside his own party. When your team is openly questioning whether you plan to stick around, that's not a healthy working environment. That's a sinking ship and everyone's eyeing the lifeboats. The timing here is absolutely brutal. We're talking about a prime minister who's been in office for barely any time at all, already facing resignation rumors. Labor's approval ratings have dropped to 18%. 18! That's not just bad, that's catastrophic. That's the kind of number that makes you wonder if they polled exclusively in Tory strongholds. But no, this is nationwide. The British public has looked at Labor's performance and gone, yeah, no thanks. Now, let's talk about what's really going on behind the scenes, because this is where it gets juicy. There's been weeks of speculation about mutiny in the Labour ranks. Actual mutiny. We're not talking mild disagreements over policy. We're talking full-blown Game of Thrones-style plotting for the throne. And who are the main characters in this drama? Health Secretary Wes Streeting and Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, both rumored to be eyeing the top job for themselves. Wes Streeting in particular has been making moves. Earlier this month, there was an extraordinary spat where a number 10 source actually briefed the media that Streeting was plotting a leadership bid. Think about how wild that is. Someone in Starmer's own office was so concerned about Streeting's ambitions that they went to journalists to try and preemptively shut it down. That's not normal political maneuvering. That's panic mode. That's the Prime Minister's team trying to stamp out fires before they spread. And Starmer's response? He had to publicly plead for unity. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom had to stand up and basically beg his cabinet to stop fighting with each other. He said distractions meant their focus shifted from where it mattered most, working every day in service of the British people. Which sounds lovely, except it's essentially an admission that his government is too busy with internal warfare to actually govern. Not a great look. But here's where it gets really interesting. An unnamed minister pointed to something specific as evidence that Starmer's nearing the end. His comments about his son for International Men's Day. Now, stay with me because this is genuinely fascinating. Starmer wrote an open letter pledging that he and his son would keep talking, keep learning from each other, keep helping each other. He admitted that he and his own father never really spoke or got to know each other. Pretty personal stuff for a politician whom normally keeps his family life extremely private. The minister said they thought it was odd, that Starmer's not keen on talking about his family like that, and there was something valedictory about it. Valedictory. That's a farewell speech, a goodbye. This minister is essentially saying Starmer is already saying his goodbyes, just in a subtle, coded way that most people wouldn't pick up on. Whether that's true or reading too much into things, the fact that his own ministers are analyzing his personal statements for hidden resignation clues tells you everything about the state of this government. So, when might this all blow up? Well, there are two main theories floating around Westminster right now. Some people think Starmer could be forced out before Christmas. That's right, we might have a different prime minister by the time we're pulling crackers and watching the King's speech. The catalyst would be the massive backlash to next week's tax hiking budget. If that goes as badly as everyone expects, the pressure could become unbearable. Imagine trying to enjoy your mince pies while your entire party is calling for your resignation. Festive. But others have pinpointed May's local elections as the real moment of reckoning. Here's why that makes sense. With polling at record lows and the public absolutely furious about broken promises and tax hikes, those local elections could be an absolute bloodbath for Labour. We're talking potentially losing hundreds of council seats. And historically, disastrous local election results are the kiss of death for party leaders. If Labour gets hammered in May, that's when rival leadership bids would launch. That's when Wes Streeting or Shabana Mahmood or whoever else fancies their chances would make their move. The UK public could make their voices heard at the ballot box next spring. And boy, do they have things to say. Remember when Labour insisted in July that the grown-ups are in charge? That lasted well, didn't it? About 5 minutes. Turns out the grown-ups are too busy briefing against each other and plotting leadership challenges to actually run the country competently. Who knew? What's truly remarkable is how quickly this has all fallen apart. Labour won a landslide. They had everything going for them. A tired Conservative Party, a public desperate for change, a massive parliamentary majority, and somehow, in record time, they've managed to create chaos, tank their approval ratings, and trigger resignation speculation about their own leader. That takes a special kind of incompetence. Or perhaps a special kind of internal dysfunction. Probably both. The irony is almost too perfect. Starmer spent years positioning himself as Mr. Stability, Mr. Competence, the sensible alternative to conservative chaos. And now his own government is imploding with infighting, and his colleagues think he's mentally preparing to quit. You couldn't write this script, except apparently, reality just did. Now, Starmer himself has dismissed talk of leadership challenges as wasted government time, which is a fair point, except his own team can't stop talking about it. Hard to focus on governing when half your cabinet is sizing up your job and the other half is briefing journalists about who's plotting what. He wants everyone to focus on the mandate to renew the country. Noble goal. A shame nobody in his party seems particularly interested in that when there's power to be seized. Let's be real about what this means for the country, though. While Labour tears itself apart, actual governance suffers. Policies don't get implemented properly. Decisions get delayed. The civil service doesn't know who will be in charge in 6 months. Businesses can't plan because they don't know if the current government strategy will survive. It's not just bad for Labour, it's bad for everyone. And if Starmer does resign, what then? A leadership contest that will dominate the news for months. More internal fighting, more policy paralysis. And then whoever wins gets the poison chalice of trying to turn around those 18% approval ratings while dealing with the same hostile MPs who just knifed their predecessor. Good luck with that. The speculation about Starmer's Zen-like mood is genuinely fascinating, though. Either he's found some incredible meditation technique that lets him remain calm while his government burns around him, or he's already made peace with the fact that this isn't working out. Given that his own MPs think it's the latter, I know which option seems more likely. There's a difference between being calm under pressure and being calm because you've already decided you're not going to deal with the pressure much longer. What makes this even more dramatic is the speed. Previous prime ministers who resigned at least had the decency to struggle on for a while first. Theresa May lasted 3 years. Boris Johnson managed nearly 3 years despite Partygate. Liz Truss, well, okay, bad example, but Starmer potentially quitting in his first year? That would be historically remarkable. The kind of thing political scientists will write papers about for decades. The budget next week is going to be absolutely crucial. If it goes badly, if the tax hikes trigger the backlash everyone expects, if businesses start screaming and the public revolt, that could be the beginning of the end. Or it could be fine and all this speculation could evaporate. But given everything we've seen so far, given the mood inside Labour, given those approval ratings, I wouldn't bet on fine.